The autopsy scene, the guy with the glasses that's onto the left-hand side is covering half his face.
Yeah.
His name is Johnny Cocktails. And Mel Brooks uses him a lot because of his facial reactions.
Johnny Cocktails?
Johnny Cocktails. Steven Weber talks about that like briefly in the commentary. He says you can see him in a lot of Mel Brooks movies. He has these great facial reactions, but he's like an MC at night at I forget what bar it was, but I'm sure now he's probably retired.
Paul Feig does the same thing too. He brings in people. Like, he knows a guy that is in a band, and he just brought him in, just flew him out to Prague for Spy to film a scene. He just has certain people he loves to throw into his movies because he knows what he gets from them will be funny.
Yeah.
And that's what Brooks does.
It works.
Now, I love Peter McNichol in this movie as Renfield. Yeah. I mean, when he's in the opening scene, when he's doing the coach, just flapping around, and then just fly. And then he gets into the castle and he meets Leslie Nielsen, and he walks into the spider's web. And
I love how obviously the shadow that moves. Leslie Nielsen, who plays Dracula, his shadow moves towards Renfield, just like in Bram Stoker's Dracula. And then when the bat comes out and flies away, he does the same line from Dracula, like "Children of the night, what a mess they make." There's a turd on the ground from the bat, and then he slips on the turd, and then he was rolling down and then he gets up and walks away, and then you see his shadow get up, and he's like, "Oh, my back."
He's like, "I'm fine." So the shadow takes the punishment. And I just love when Renfield walks into the gigantic spider's web. Oh, I thought you walked right through it, so I thought I could. Renfield, hurry up. And then at night, I think one of the funniest scenes though is when he's laying in bed and Dracula's brides come to him and they start caressing onto the bed.
What are you doing to the furniture?
Like, that's his first thought. Is they're seducing the furniture, which is the weirdest. Someone wrote that, and that's hilarious. And then I love when they get on top of him, and he just starts yelling, "Wrong me, wrong me, wrong me."
Wrong my brains out.
And then they get up.
Renfield, what is it?
They start floating away, and he's like, "Stop doing that." And then they walk away all gooberly.
Oh my god.
It's just such a cheat. Okay, you're watching this movie. Obviously, people hated it. But how you couldn't find humor in these little gags?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of little...
It's comfort food.
Yeah, and this movie does not take itself seriously at all.
No.
And they even say this in the commentary. They did zero research on the history that this movie, the time period when the movie takes place. They said that they based everything on movies that they've seen. So it's like...
That's what's funny, though, right?
Yeah, it's hilarious. And Amy Yasbeck said that she would love to... She could only do a period film for so long because she loves the comedy of it, but she wouldn't want to do a serious one. So, like, watching the outfits, it's just like... It's funny because, like, to us, it's like thinking about how they would sit down or walk around and how much time they must have taken to get ready in the morning. It's just... It's a very funny concept.
And I love the scene when they're at the opera later on. and Steven Weber goes, there's passion and mystery and intrigue, everything that I've repressed in my life.
I love the scene with the bellhop, I guess she wouldn't be a bellhop now.
You will forget everything.
Yeah, she opens up the curtain, blank stare, everyone's looking at her, shuts the curtains again. Oh, hello. It's like, and then she's like, "Where's my tip?" "Oh, you remember that, huh?"
No tip. No tip.
You remember that.
Tip. Yeah.
I love so many bits of this. Like, like at the end, not the end of the movie, but whenever Dracula goes to the party and he's like, "Can we take your cape?" "No, but you may take my hat." And it's like, I use that line all the time, and no one ever like replies back to me. I'm like,
nobody knows about my raspberry comment. It's a raspberry. Or no one knows about my raspberry comments, and then no one knows about my enema comments.
Give him an enema, put him in a straitjacket. Wait a minute.
Give him an enema.
No, wait. Straitjacket, put him in a straitjacket, give him an enema. No, wait. Give him the enema first.
And I love in the beginning, give him an enema. An enema? Give him a sense of accomplishment. And I remember when Lucy's all sick, he's like, "What if we gave her an enema?"
I love how a solution to everything is just an enema.
Give her an enema. No, not an enema. Give him 2 enemas. No, not 2 enemas.
Not another enema. No. It's like his solution to everything.
I just love it. So the first time you hear it, it'll give him a sense of accomplishment. You're like, I guess, like he's having a bowel movement. But then he just keeps doing it to everybody. I guess it's like leeching, the terrible practices back in the day of let's just blood the person. Like, they're sick, let's drain them of blood. Let's hit them with a croquet stick.
Yeah, like, we'll just drill the part out of you.
We'll just give them an enema.
Ugh. Can you imagine? No.
And like the scene where Dracula gets on top of the ceiling and he's waiting to get to Lucy. I'll give the door a right old slam. So Dracula is hanging from the ceiling with his back against the ceiling. And this guy slams the door and Dracula just falls face. It's a dummy, one of the most clear dummies ever. And it just falls face first on the ground. And then the scene where he becomes a bat and he goes after Lucy. And he's flying towards
They
her,
shut the window.
and then she feels a little chill, like, and she slams the window. Ah! There's good gags in this movie.
Oh, whenever Dracula dies, spoiler alert, Renfield opens up the roof window and he's like, "Master, here!" And he's like, "No, Renfield, you asshole!"
He calls him an asshole.
Before he dies, Renfield scoops up the ashes, dumps them into the coffin, puts a smiley face in the ashes, like, "Look, Master, you're looking like your old self again."
Peter McNichol, he gets put through the ringer in this movie. I love the scene, too, when the coffin's going back and forth on the boat. Your job, Renfield, will be to protect me on my voyage. And then cut to a really shaky boat as coffin's going back and forth.
They said in the commentary, obviously, that the ship was on a gimbal, so they had to do that. And the stuntman that they had, Peter McNichol, actually said he wanted to do it himself. They said, no, maybe we should just let a stuntman do it. But even with the stunt guy, he got the crap kicked out of him.
Yeah, he did.
Slams right up against him.
I mean, that's a good physical comedy bit in that movie. And everyone's in on the joke in this movie, too, though. Like, this is a movie, I just love how, I don't know, just everyone knows exactly what the movie is. Does that make sense? And they're all on board with it. They're not exactly winking at the camera either.
Yeah, it's definitely not that far of a parody, but
Leslie Nielsen doesn't really have much to do in it.
Well, he's playing the straight man.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie. I mean, it's almost like if you watch the movie, it is almost like a serious film.
Yeah, it plays like that.
Like they're not nobody's being like, "Gotcha," It's like
Lucy.
They're very, very serious with what they're saying. It's but that's the comedy of it. It's just
Why isn't Amy Yazbek in more? Because she's so funny in Robin Hood Men in Tights in this movie.
I forget what I read online.
Wings.
I think she just kind of stopped like after a while.
And she's married to John Ritter.
Ooh, that would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, after he died. I mean, he was such a nice guy. From what I've heard. Yeah, she probably gave it up after that.
And she had Wings money.
She had the Wings money. Yeah, that would do it too.
But she's hilarious in this movie, though.
To bring it back to the Chris Tucker line that I said, she's probably not greedy.
Yeah.
She's probably just sitting at home relaxing. But yeah, she mainly did a lot of Mel Brooks movies. She talked about that in the commentary, that when they were filming Robin Hood Men in Tights, she was approached for Dracula Dead and Loving It, and she said, "Yes, of course I'll do it." She loved working on Robin Hood Men in Tights, so she was really happy that Mel Brooks brought her on. But she has a lot of those under her belt. Where
did the $30 million budget go? So let's account for inflation, right? So let's say it's like
building those sets,
$50 million budget.
Stunt people, I'd say, probably took up a good bit of it. Not too much visual effects.
Because that's a pretty big budget.
That's a big budget, especially for 1995. Well, that's still pretty big budget for right now.
I thought it was interesting, the cinematographer, Michael D. O'Shea. I kind of, when you look at this movie, so this movie is not about camera angles. It's more about the camera servicing the jokes. Remember So I Married an Axe Murderer, about getting both eyes in frame, that Michael Myers argued about with the director of that movie?
Mm.
But I noticed this director went on to do a ton of television. Bones, Eli Stone, Buffy, CSI Miami.
He did
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Doogie Howser.
Yeah, before that.
So, and a great TV film, if anybody wants to see it, called The 60s.
Hey.
It's a great film.
But the shots in this movie, they're very TV-esque. There's nothing really cinematic about these shots, but there isn't a need, right? Because it's all about servicing the jokes.
Yeah, it's mainly about the jokes of the movie. I mean, as far as cinematography goes, it could be anything.
Yeah.
You could literally just plant the camera in the room and that'd be fine.
Because you want the gags.
Yes.
And then also the guy who did Roy Ford Smith, the production designer, he did Holy Grail.
Yeah, I saw that. He also did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1, 2, and 3.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Men in Tights. Ghost
Rocket
Whisperer.
Man.
Hey, with Harlan Williams.
Yeah.
The 90s had some weird starring. Disney had Ernest, they had Pauly Shore, and then they had Harlan Williams starring.
The '90s were pretty impressive as far as the comedy scene goes. Also, with the production designer, he started in 1956.
Jeez Louise!
So he kind of knew what he was doing.
Yeah, a little bit.
With the cinematographer though, Michael O'Shea, he was a camera operator for many years before he started doing cinematography. He did The Naked Gun, The Burbs, Over the Top.
Oh, so he understood comedy then?
Yeah, he understood
because he worked on Naked Gun.
He did. Yeah, he did The Goonies. He was a camera op on MASH, the TV show.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, even TV show or the movie. So he also was camera op on Lost Boys.
He knew how to film the joke.
Yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing. I think that probably sped up the process a lot more.
I mean, yeah, and because a lot of the shots, there's a lot of remember the opera scene? It's basically a 4-shot and then a 2-shot. There's very little over the shoulder.
Yeah, there's not the usual over the shoulder shots that you would see in movies. What I thought was interesting was the second AD, Robert Scott, on this was a director of The Video Dead.
What's The Video Dead?
I think that was one of the first movies that I had as a recommendation. It was a movie that I had saw just on a whim. Is 1987 or 86. It's like a super micro budget film about this VHS player or TV that gets delivered and out pops zombies.
What?
It's actually pretty neat. It's a super low budget film. But I'd strongly recommend checking that out if you ever get a chance. I've seen it streaming on like Xfinity on demand all the time.
Pop an enema. Sit down and watch The Video Dead.
Why did I listen to Mark?
I can't watch the movie now.
Did you know, to bring it back, Leslie Nielsen was considered for the role of Jack Torrance.
What?
He was.
He could have done it.
I think it would have been, well, even at the time, because at the I guess probably newer younger generations now probably don't know who Leslie Nielsen is, which is a huge tragedy in itself. But prior to his comedy, he was very well known for his serious roles. He was a very serious actor, which is what got him Airplane, was that he was a super serious actor, and they wanted to have a straight man to play the character in Airplane, and that's why it's so good. But
yes, I am, and don't call me Shirley. Yeah. That line delivery.
Yeah, exactly. But they talked about that that he was super serious, and that's what made the movie.
Yeah. I have a question for you. I interrupted you, but I got a very important question.
It's almost like we interrupted each other for interrupting each other.
The way they said Lucy in this movie, how do you spell that? The typical spelling's Lucy. If you had to phonetically spell the way they say Lucy.
I would say Lushey.
Lucy? Lucy? I think
it's kind of like if Sean Connery was over there. Lucy. That's like that's like Sean Connery was Elvis Presley.
I had
Where's my hat?
Take it now. We'll do some curls. Peanut butter and jelly. So I had Luhsee, Lucy. But I like your Lucy. Lucy. I just love that they added syllables in there. They added letters. They made a meal out of saying Lucy, and I really enjoyed that.
Created their own language.
Yeah, pretty much.
Literally their own language. And they talk about that in the comment. Fushta. And it's apparently the reason why they did it is because Mel Brooks way back in the day, we're talking about in the 50s, he was very well known for his gibberish. So he would create languages, and I forget who his partner was, but Mel Brooks and his partner would oftentimes speak in gibberish. And that was the comedy of it. So he could very well write out gibberish, and he wanted to bring it back because he wanted to bring back his gibberish days with this movie. So that's the reason why they have that back and forth. But Leslie Nielsen, who's also very good with improv, decided to jump in on it too.
Oh,
so he was like, they were going back and forth. He talked about in the commentary. I'm like, my God, could you imagine that? He's like, as we used to say in my home country. And he's like, I don't know what he said. But of course, we would also say Nadushka from the roof. It's like, what?
I love when Van Helsing finally meets Dracula. He's like, your ancestor Vlad Tepes would slaughter and murder and put people on spikes, then what